If you wanted to eat apples, of course you can if you're still a pitta or a vata, like of course you can eat it, but the thing is, Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Claire. This is Clareminded, and I'm having so much fun here in Claire's kitchen. I hope you are too. Thank you for joining. And today we are making here in the kitchen, we are making Kapha recipes for breakfast. So today I'm going to give you 2 recipes that you can use for springtime if you're looking for something of a lighter meal, or for any Kapha doshas or any Kapha dosha imbalances. Today we're making stewed apples. So apples are really good. Any fruit is good to have in the morning. And if it's slightly cooked, all the better for Kapha, because you want something a little warm to kind of warm you up. As we're moving from winter to summer, we're in this transitional springtime. So we want to keep it light and keep the channels as clear as possible. And then the second thing that we're going to make is a fresh muesli that we're going to make on our stovetop with a little bit of rice milk at the end. And muesli is super good for Kapha doshas because it is light and dry. If you have cooked oats, that's a little bit too heavy for the Kapha dosha, but if you have light granola, this muesli that we're gonna make with some dried fruit, some sunflower seeds, some chia seeds, it's gonna be super light, super refreshing. You're gonna have it in some rice milk, which is awesome for Kapha doshas. And I'm gonna show you how to do it right here in your own kitchen on the stovetop with extra love. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to make for the Ayurvedic Kapha recipes for breakfast are stewed apples. So I have 2 apples, and if you actually have green apples, that's even better for Kapha doshas. All I have are these galas, yum. They've been my mom's favorites since like forever, and whenever we would go apple picking, all we would get is gala apples. Like, our fridge would be so full in the fall with apples, it was just mind-blowing. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is kind of heat up the pan to get it nice and going, and then we're going to chop the apples. I have 2, you should too. You really just want to dice up the apple. I am a firm believer in using every part of the apple except for the seeds. So now we have the pan nice heated up, and now we want some oil. So when you add oil to the Kapha dosha, you kind of want to keep it as minimum as possible. And because Kapha is so heavy, it's moist, it's just very like dense, you want to bring in a lighter oil. So you want either corn oil, you want like flaxseed oil, soy oil, safflower oil. Those are all really good oils to help with the Kapha dosha. And because we only want a little bit, we're only going to add about a teaspoon of that canola oil, which is also very light and very dry as well. So just adding maybe 2 teaspoons. Our oil is nice and heated up in our pan. We're gonna add the apples. Hello, duh, we wanna cook them. So that's a good sound. One thing that I learned when I was cooking in Spain for a little bit is that you always wanna wait until the pan is hot before you add anything. And then the oil on top of that too. Like, I'm such an impatient person. So many times, especially when I was making like pancakes in the morning or anything, you know, that I wanted, I would turn the stove on, I would turn it on, I would immediately add the oil, which you don't want to do. You want to kind of warm the pan up first, and then you want to add the oil, and then you want to warm the oil up first, and then you want to add your food. It's a little, it's like you need to work on your patience, but do it, it's totally paying off. So now, just kind of mix it around. You can practice your flipping here. So in our stewed apples, we're going to be adding a couple spices. You know, we want to open it up. So the heat, the warmth of the apples is really going to aid in the Kapha dosha and just kind of warm it up as it goes through your body. We're also adding cinnamon. So whichever you're at, I'm a huge eyeballer, but I'll give some recipes in the show notes if you want those. Add a hearty handful of cinnamon, and cinnamon is so great for the Kapha dosha because it aids in digestion and also really helps your circulatory system. So it's really good if you're dealing with any respiratory kind of like blocked channels. This will help your circulation in your body, cinnamon. And it's like sweet and delicious, and it's amazing. The next spice that we're gonna add is cardamom. And cardamom is similar in the sense that it brings this warming element. It is so nice, beautiful. It's great for Kapha dosha and great in stewed apples as well. So we're gonna add a little bit of cardamom, maybe slightly less than the cinnamon. And just to round it out, you wanna do like a good thing of cracked salt just to kind of help round it out. And then we let the apples simmer in a little bit of water for about 5 to 8 minutes on medium. So one of the reasons why apples are so good for the Kapha dosha is because they have that astringent taste. And to be able to tell if something has an astringent taste, next time you eat an apple, I want you to do this, okay? So take a bite of a fresh apple. It can be green or it can even be red, but take a note. And as you chew it thoroughly in your mouth. Remember the Ayurvedic eating rules. But once you fully chew it in the mouth, swallow it, and then take note about how your mouth feels. Notice if it's actually a little bit drier. It almost makes you seem like you want to take another bite because it seems so juicy, but what it's actually doing to your mouth is pulling moisture. So that air, that astringent taste that you have with that air and earth qualities, it's actually pulling the moisture out of your mouth and making it a little bit drier, but making you want that second bite, right? So by cooking the apples, we're actually opening them up a little bit by warming them so they don't have as strong as an astringent taste. And if you wanted to eat apples and you're a Pitta or a Vata dosha, that's totally okay. You just have to learn to adjust the food to make it work for you. So someone like me who's very Vata, the way I eat apples is similarly to how I'm preparing them for you right now, is I have to cook them down. So instead of having a raw apple, which is very, very astringent, I'm gonna have like a cooked apple, like a baked apple like that, because then you're bringing more of the warming element in, which is great for Vatas. And then by adding spices actually makes it easier to digest. So we're kick-starting that Agni, that digestive fire, and it's gonna be so much smoother for my body to process as a Vata if I'm eating an astringent food. Basic Ayurveda. And once the apples are fully done, just slide them right in. Voila. Super easy stewed apples, so yummy, so delicious. Great for a Kapha recipe for breakfast. Okay, so for the second Kapha recipe for breakfast, we're gonna make some homemade muesli. So we're gonna start by getting a large pan and then placing it on the stove that we're gonna home make it on, and then turning it on to about medium heat and let it warm up for a minute. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the oats, and then we're slowly gonna add we're gonna start with the oil. Gotta heat up the pan, and then we're gonna add the oil, some spices, a little bit of honey here, and then we have chia seeds, sunflower, and some dried fruit, which is all really good for the Kapha dosha. Okay, so we have our pan that's nice and heated up, and we're going to add some canola oil to the pan. So canola oil is super good for the Kapha dosha because it's light and dry, and that's what you want for Kapha dosha. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons here because we're making a heaping batch of muesli. Adding the oil to an already warm pan, and then give that a moment to heat up and slosh it around. And this is totally a recipe that you kind of have to keep your eye on the entire time because you don't want it to burn. All right, and then we're gonna add the oats. So we have 2 heaping cups of oats. 2 heaping cups of oats, and then we're going to stir it around in that oil just to get it nice and lightly coated. So we're lightly toasting our oats, and lightly toasted oats are so good for Kapha dosha because hello, lightly toasted brings them up. Kapha is so heavy, moist, dense, so we want to lighten them by toasting them all the way up. Toasting them makes it drier, which all means it's better for Kapha dosha. So they're slightly sweetened. This muesli is going to be so fresh, full of seeds, dried fruit, everything good for the Kapha dosha. So once the oats have been cooking for about like 5 minutes, they're just lightly toasted, we're gonna add some local fresh honey. And honey, you always want to buy from your local farmer's market if possible. If you buy them from the store, there's possibilities of them being chemically induced. They can be shared facilities. They can be harmful to the bees. So you always want to buy fresh and local. You want to know your beekeeper as best as you can, just to make sure there's no harm done to the animals and that it's as best and local as possible to do as little harm to the environment and anyone else involved. So we're going to add about 2 tablespoons to our oats. Give it a nice little shake. Cool, then we're gonna add our spices. And for this one, we're using cardamom and cinnamon. And these are great for Kapha dosha, especially for breakfast, because they both aid in digestion and they're also both warming, which is exactly what you need for a Kapha dosha imbalance. And especially for springtime, it's super yummy to have. So a generous amount of cinnamon and cardamom. And then to balance it out, bring some flavors, fresh salt. And then give it a nice stir. I'm not kidding, don't take your eyes off this. Okay, lightly toasted about 8 minutes in, we want to add our chia seeds, we want to add our sunflower seeds, and then we want to add our dried fruit. All great for the Kapha dosha. I wish you guys could smell this because it smells freaking amazing. It smells so yummy. I can't wait. I wish I could send this all to you. It's yum. It's got this like cinnamony, heavenly like dreamsicle up in here. So the last thing we're gonna add is some maca powder and a little ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is like Ayurvedic super herb, yum. We're just gonna add about a half teaspoon, and then we're gonna add a teaspoon of the maca powder. And maca is full of vitality and energy, and it's gonna really help the Kapha dosha like pump it up. So the chia seeds, which is a super amazing thing that I learned recently, is that it can have two properties basically. It can have two different like elements and properties that it brings in. So when you're having chia seeds dry, like sprinkled on fruit, we think chia seeds, oh my god, they're superfood, but what they're actually doing to your body can be a completely different thing. So when you're having chia seeds dry, like sprinkled on top of your fruit or your oatmeal, anytime you take them in dry, they are going to suck out the moisture of your body and consume that moisture. But if you have the chia seeds and they're slightly soaked before you put them into your body, they're gonna actually give you hydration. So take note of that. If you have them dry, know that they're gonna be stealing a little bit of your hydration and your moisture from your body. But if you take them in when they're already soaked for maybe 5-10 minutes, then they are going to be adding hydration to your body. So for Kapha dosha, we want to remove some of that extra moisture, so we want to put them in dry because that is going to help reduce the moisture and the water retention in Kapha doshas. Yum, so we got it slightly toasted here. It looks so delicious. Oh my god, it smells like a cinnamon dream right now. All right, let's put some in a bowl and I'll show you what's up. Stewed apples, fresh muesli, and rice milk. So these were Kapha recipes for breakfast, 2 different ways. You have the stewed apples, super warming, grounding, great way to start your day on a light note. If you need something a little bit extra for the Kapha dosha, try some of this homemade fresh muesli. It's super light, it's super toasty, and it is literally like a cinnamon dream. Enjoy with rice milk or soy milk because those are gonna be nice and light for any Kapha dosha imbalances. If you guys like this video, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see any other things to cook, talk about, let me know, please. I'm here for you guys and I'm learning and I can't wait to share more. My name is Claire. Again, this is Clareminded. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram and I'll see you guys later.